Welcome to Everything You Need to Know About the Ascension of Humanity, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern science and spiritual evolution gets real. I'm Heather, an energy healer, channel, and spiritual coach with Divine Ascension Company. Each week, we're diving deep into the mysteries of human consciousness, spiritual awakening, and the profound transformation happening within us and around us. But here's the thing. We're not doing this with our heads in the clouds. We're bringing neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, and cutting-edge research to the table alongside meditation, energy work, and timeless spiritual teachings. Because the truth is, the ascension of humanity isn't some far-off cosmic event. It's happening right now in the choices we make, the awareness we cultivate, and the healing we do within ourselves. Whether you're curious about how mindfulness literally rewires your brain, why shadow work is backed by depth psychology, or what coherence between your heart and mind actually means scientifically, you're in the right place. We'll explore practices like breathwork, meditation, and emotional alchemy, not as abstract concepts, but as tangible tools grounded in both spiritual wisdom and scientific understanding. And here's where it gets even better. In our bonus episodes, you'll hear from real people sharing real stories. These are the warriors, the healers, the everyday seekers who've walked through their own darkness and found their light. They'll share their breakthroughs, their struggles, and the resources that actually help them along the way. Because personal growth isn't a solo journey, and you deserve to know you're not alone. So whether you're just beginning to question the nature of reality, or you're deep in your spiritual practice, this podcast is your companion on the path. It's time to expand, to awaken, and to rise together. Let's begin. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome. I'm super excited that this episode found you. It's a good one. Can we talk about energy for a second? Because I feel like it's one of those things that everyone mentions in the spiritual community, but nobody really explains what it actually is. Like, we're all nodding along, like, yeah, energy. But inside we're thinking, wait, what am I supposed to be feeling? If that's you, you're in the right place today. We're stripping this whole thing back to basics. What is energy? What does it feel like? And more importantly, what does it feel like for you? Because, spoiler alert, it's different for everyone. My guest Ryan and I are going to share some really simple practices that you can literally do today. Like, pause the episode and try them right now kind of things. Nothing complicated, nothing weird, just ways to start noticing what's honestly already happening in your body. And then we're going to hear from the elders. They came through with this beautiful message about asking your guides for help, because here's what they want us to know. We don't have to figure this all out by ourselves. We have a whole spiritual support team just waiting for us to ask them for help. How are you doing today, Ryan?
I'm great. And yourself, Heather?
I'm living the dream, as always. This week we're going to talk about energy, which there's a lot of different aspects to energy that we could discuss, and I feel like we could spend probably 5 different episodes talking about energy. They say energy is everything. Everything is made of energy. It can neither be destroyed nor created. So there's a lot going on there. But today we're going to talk about flowing energy through the vessel and the light body. Ryan, you seemed pretty interested about talking about this topic. So I will let you start. What do you want to share about energy flow today?
Perfect, Heather. Thank you so much. So, as introduced, my name's Ryan Alter. A little bit of background on me. About 2 years ago, I had an experience that I still can't totally explain to this day, and have gone down this rabbit hole of learning about all things spiritual. I don't think 3 years ago I even knew what the word spiritual meant, to be honest. And now I find myself being a guest of honor, shall I call it, Heather, on your podcast.
Absolutely.
And have the distinct pleasure of being able to chat about some things that I've learned a little bit about. I want to say I am no subject matter expert, and that's okay. We don't have to be. All we have to do is find out what works for us. And so some of the things that we're going to chat about, my big thing is let's give you things to try. My guides are always saying, play with it, play with energy, play with the world around you. Find what works for you. And that's all that matters. Find your truth. And so, Heather, what's one thing that you have found energetically from a flow standpoint that helps you?
Mm. I think that honestly, I don't know if this is the easiest one, but the one that means the most to me, the one that I enjoy the most, is actually just going to the trees and rubbing my hands together and putting my hands near the tree. I don't touch the tree, but near the tree. And you just
Mhm.
close your eyes and you just wait for a little bit, and you can start to feel these tingles in your palm. Sometimes it's a warmth, sometimes it's tingling, sometimes it's, might be a little different, but each tree is different. It has its own energy, and that's how it communicates with you. And I think that's my favorite way to kind of introduce myself to flowing energy.
For sure. And Heather, one of the reasons I have found that that works is the palms of our hands are very sensitive from an energetic standpoint. Um, I didn't design the system. I don't know why. I can just tell you that that is a, for me, that is a huge entry and exit point of energy is the palms of my hands.
Well, if
And
you think about it, the nervous system is associated with spirituality and your light body and stuff, and you have so many nerve endings and nerves in your hands and your fingers. I mean, it's really isn't that much of a surprise.
well, it was to me because I come from the technology background, right?
Well,
I
I'm
come
here
from
to
the,
shed light on this for you.
yes. Well, I see a co-collaboration is learning both ways.
Of course.
I can't even begin to tell the audience how unqualified I am to talk to you about this. That being said, I think that that is almost one of my superpowers is not knowing and having that childlike wonder, that curiosity about energy flow and not reading a lot, not even knowing there was this whole world out there. And then experimenting, playing, and saying like, well, what happens when I do this? Well, I feel this. Okay. Heather, let me tell you my most embarrassing energy story. Is that okay? Is that allowed?
Of course.
Okay. So I learned about crystals one day. Did you know crystals are a thing?
Oh my gosh, really?
They
Tell me more.
are. I had no idea. This is how silly I was beforehand. And so I went to the local crystal place and there was this blue rock. And I was like, ooh, that's a pretty blue rock. I didn't know to feel the energy. I didn't know to like cleanse the crystals or stuff like that. And I immediately put it on a necklace and put it around my body. It was lapis.
Mm.
And lapis is a really strong, energetic rock. And I had no idea what energy flow was. I had no idea about anything. But I did know how to talk to my guides a little bit. And I put it around my neck. I drove home, and it was a 5-minute drive home, really quick. By the time I got home, I felt this energy starting to go through my body, and it freaked me out. And my guides are laughing on the other side. They're like, you got yourself into it, you get yourself out of it. And so this is when I learned one of my first grounding techniques. I looked super silly because it was winter in Montana where I live. But we didn't have a lot of snow. We only had a little bit of snow, just a dusting. And here I am out in the backyard, barefoot, walking around the yard because I read online somewhere that if you ground, apparently this is a thing too, grounding, it helps you relieve the energy of your vessel. And of course, I got bored because like I could feel it kind of working, but it wasn't happening very quickly. I couldn't flow energy through me very quickly. And so it was taking forever. So I ended up scooping up the dog poop in the backyard while I was walking around because I'm like, I might as well be doing something out here. So let's call this the grounding dog poop method because that sounds super silly. And we don't want to take these things too seriously in the beginning. Okay. Yes. Everybody thinks we have to look perfect. We have to have the proper attire with the right meditation cushion. No, we're going to go with the picking up dog poop method. Okay. Because it's about being outside, right? It's about that connection to nature. And it doesn't have to be perfect. After about an hour and a half, my feet were super cold. I came in and I promptly gifted that to somebody who was a better energetic match for that necklace. I do not have it anymore.
I don't think you ever told me that story.
I have not. Well, I've got to save something for the podcast, right?
Fair enough.
And so this is one thing to think about as we bring things into our lives, whether that be that silly necklace or that person you just met. We have to think about the energetic balance or disharmony that they might bring into our field. Okay. So your world around you has an impact on your energy. This is something I learned through my necklace, right? And then that lesson scales over time. And that was one of my first experiences with feeling energy flow. I got scared. Okay. Great news, Heather. Did you know you have guides?
Do you? Tell me more.
I have guides. You have guides, and everybody listening to this podcast has guides. Okay. So we're going to do an exercise right now. Okay. It's free. Everybody needs to do it because everybody loves free things. And why wait? I want you to say hi to your guides.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Very good. Okay. They all just said hi back. And I can assure you that there is one person listening to this right now whose guides were like, oh my God, I've been waiting for them to say hi to me forever. Okay.
More than one.
I'm sure at least one. Yes. Okay. So your guides can help you with your energy flow. Don't ever forget that. My guides were teaching me a lesson with the necklace. They were there. They wouldn't have let anything bad happen to me. Not that anything bad would have happened. It just surprised me. It just took, and this is why we need to understand a little bit about what energy flow feels like for us, right? So we don't get overwhelmed. And when we do, we know what to do. Okay.
And everybody flows energy differently too, because when we, in meditation and stuff, when we practice flowing energy, which eventually everyone should get to, I highly recommend it. Some people feel the energy start coming in through the hands, some through the feet. I've had somebody through the chest, someone through the back, and some people say it feels like tingles or numbness. Some people say it feels like warmth. Some people feel cold. So it's very different for everyone. So it's good to know what that feels like for you, like you said.
Absolutely. I have not really met two people who do it the same.
Right.
I can describe it for me. And Heather, I think a lot of your comments about what it feels like, very relatable to a lot of people. It's also interesting. People who have maybe even been on the spiritual path for a while don't know what the energy feels like flowing through them. This has surprised me because this was one of my early lessons, right? But there's people who have like tried sitting in meditation for a while or tried a lot of these things. And they're like, we don't know. We've never experienced this before. So there's little tricks. Okay. I love little free things that we can do that help us understand. So I'm working on writing an article right now. I just noticed this yesterday. I was out grilling. And I think the other take home is you don't need to be sitting on the top of a mountain to experience this, right? You don't need to be that monk. Wait, I'm sure the monks have amazing experiences, by the way.
For sure.
But that's not where we're at on a day to day. You can experience the universe. You can experience amazing energy in your day to day life. I was grilling chicken on my grill on my back porch when I had this realization. I was just waiting for the chicken to grill up, and I'm standing. And it was a beautiful sunny day. We don't get a lot of those out in Montana, especially in November, which is when we're recording this. So I just stood there with my hands down at my sides, and I closed my eyes and put my face up to the sun. I could just feel that sun beating down on my face. And then I could start feeling that sun energy coming in through my face, down through my arms, out through the palms of my hand, just flowing it through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always like that little kid. I'm like, I gotta poke it. I gotta like play around with it a little bit. And so there's a patio deck that was right behind me. And so I just took 2 steps back and I went into the shade. And I could feel the energy was still there. It was just a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stepped forward 2 steps. And I could feel that start again. I wasn't paying attention to the energy that was on my face because we're kind of used to that. What I was doing was paying attention to how much was flowing through the palms of my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a really simple exercise to show you that your surroundings impact the energy flow that's going through your vessel.
And it's funny, you mentioned something about being surprised about people who are farther along in their spiritual path who still don't know exactly what energy flow feels like. And I gotta say, I was really surprised about this too, because for the last, I don't know, 3 years maybe, like because I have trouble sleeping sometime, well, most of the time. And so I was listening to like guided meditations and sleep meditations on YouTube, and they go through the body relaxation part and they try to guide you through this meditation, but not one single person has ever mentioned flowing the energy. Even for the out of body experience ones, the astral projection ones, which we're not going to talk about today. That's a big conversation that we're going to have later. But one of the most important aspects of being able to do that is flowing energy. And not one single person ever mentions it. And it baffles me.
It's interesting. I have a lady who has been in this class that she's taken from somebody else, and she is on the path. She's going to have an out of body experience. Like that's her thing, right? She's going to go out of body. She's going to do this. And they talk about these flow states. Don't quote me on any of this. I have a horrible memory sometimes, and I'm trying to remember this conversation from like 6 months ago. But I remember the gist of it being she was supposed to enter the super high energy flow state, and she was having trouble. And I'm like, well, let's just talk, okay? And one of the things that I've developed over time is just a super simple little meditation that helps you communicate with your guides. Okay, that's the important part. Communicate with your guides on how much energy you want to flow through your vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, humor me. This is going to take 15, 20 minutes. Like, let's just walk through this. And I walked her through that little exercise, and she came out the other side with like, Ryan, I know what it feels like now. She's like, we didn't get to that super high level that I need. She's like, but I now know what I'm supposed to be feeling for.
Mm-hmm.
And so just to say, yes, it happens. I think it's something it's kind of one of those basic things that might get overlooked. And I think the foundation for a lot of what we do. It's the foundation for if you want to become a channel, you want to become a medium, you want to become like you want to bring all these other gifts online that you all have, by the way. Okay. You all have the capability of doing all of those things. Energy flow through your vessel is the kindergarten prerequisite for all of it. You want to learn how to heal your back pain, something along those lines, energy flow, right? Because most of the aches and pains that we find in our vessels, our bodies, that's just stuck energy. I'm not a doctor. Don't take medical advice from me. What I can tell you is my back doesn't hurt anymore from yesterday because I did some energy flow and it used to hurt and now it doesn't.
It's helped me a lot with my ADHD symptoms as well, and my insomnia, actually. So, mm, I don't know.
Better living through energy flow. We need a t-shirt that says that.
Yes. And for anybody who's interested in learning how to do the energy flow exercise that he's talking about, it is called the Ascendometer meditation, and it is available on my YouTube channel.
And if you're on our YouTube channel, the Divine Ascension Company, we're going to put a link to it down below.
Absolutely.
Well, now your audience knows everything there is to know about energy flow, Heather, right?
I wouldn't go that far, but they got a basic.
I wouldn't either.
It's I got to tell you, the very first time I felt the energy from the guides, it was your guides actually who like sent this huge amount of energy to my heart space, and it was the first time that I've consciously ever felt. I've always been intuitive, and I've gotten like, cognizance, clairsentience, all of that stuff, but it doesn't have this. It's not as strong, or it feels different. I'm not sure, but the first time they sent that energy to my heart center and I felt that, I was like, there's no way I'm making this up. I could never do that to myself. This is nothing I've ever experienced before. It was a very profound moment for me. And that was the beginning of me learning about energy and energy flow, and then working on my chakras and getting to the point where I could flow more and more energy. And I would practice. They're like, oh, practice a little bit every day. And I'm like, screw that. I was practicing like 3 times a day. It was so much fun. It felt amazing. It was such a different experience. And it's something that I realized that my soul had been searching for between, I don't know if anyone is aware of this, but I am covered in tattoos and I love drum and bass music. That feeling that the electricity from the gun, the bass music pumping so loud that the speakers are vibrating and everything is just bouncing around, like those are the closest things on this earthly plane that I have been able to find to get me to that point. So when I found energy flow and I started working with it, it was like being home again, it was so natural and just so amazing. And it really just, I don't know, it just helped me in so many different ways.
Should we tell them you kind of get addicted to it?
I mean, they'll find out.
Okay. We won't tell them then. It'll be our secret.
Okay. um, the addiction could be a heck of a lot worse. If I was going to have an addiction, I would prefer it to be energy flow. As long as you still, live your life and do your things and you're not like, oh, I'm just going to flow energy all day, every day, because you'll turn into a vegetable and that wouldn't be good. But yes, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
There comes a point in the beginning where you're like, oh, I got to go do my meditation. I got to go do my meditation.
Mhm.
And then it becomes, I can't wait to go do my meditation.
Absolutely. I know when I first started trying to meditate, as I mentioned earlier, with the ADHD, it's hard to still my mind. And, when you first learn about meditation, especially for me, coming from researching the Buddhist tradition, which is all about stillness and silence, I have a very difficult time doing that. And I know a lot of people that I've talked to through coaching or meditation, group meditation or whatever, They do too. And I realized when I first started meditating, I could barely do like 5 minutes, and that's giving myself a lot of generosity. I started listening to guided meditations because it gave me something for my mind to focus on, but it still wasn't the same experience. And once I realized that meditation did not have to be sitting in silence, trying to still your mind, trying to not think any thoughts because it's almost impossible for me. And you could use meditation to do other things, to visually go, I go visit Mother Gaia and this energy flow, and to do these different things that are just these phenomenal experiences. It really took me from that looking at it as a chore and like, oh, all right, I have to do it at least once today. Like, let's take 5 minutes to go try to sit in quiet, like hope the cats don't bother me, blah, blah, blah. And then when you find out that you can actually have a goal and do these really fun exercises during meditation instead, well, then that's when I got to like, okay, I'm doing it like 3 times a day. And then 10 minutes turns into, I don't know, we've meditated for like 3.5 hours sometimes. So it's like once you find the type of meditation and the type of energy flow and the things working with your guides, stuff like that, that works for you, that makes it enjoyable instead of just trying to sit in quiet, which some people might find that enjoyable. I don't know. Um, I can only speak for myself. But once you find that amazing, way to have it work for you, it truly changes everything.
It does.
Hmm. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
I know your guides are very chatty and like to talk to the people. Do they have anything that they would like to share about energy flow?
So what the audience doesn't realize is that my guides love being in the spotlight because they are here to help with the ascension of humanity. And she knows they won't be able to resist that.
Nope.
So let's give the audience a little bit of background on who they are. So my guides, I call them the elders. They're a group of three extra dimensional beings who I bring through in channel form. Think of channeling as driving in your car, and one time you're driving and the next time somebody else is driving and you're sitting in the passenger seat. And so for me, channeling is bringing the elders through, letting them drive the vessel, using my vocal cords to communicate with you so that they can help humanity with their ascension. That is part of our soul contract. We agreed to this before I was born, and here I am fulfilling that. I hope somebody upstairs is taking notes on that one. So, yes, I'm sure that they would love to come through. Energy flow is something near and dear to their heart. The ascendometer meditation that Heather was talking about earlier is something that they typically guide, not me so much. So, would you like me to bring them through, Heather?
Of course. Why keep the audience waiting?
Okay, very good. Um, just one moment. Yes, and we are here and we are so glad to be available to you for your assistance again. How may we help?
Well, today we are talking about energy flow, which is one of your subjects that you seem to be an expert at. So we, decided to let you come through and share with the audience what your viewpoint is on energy flow, how important it is, and, just kind of talk about it a little bit.
Very good. Yes. So we would like to say that we know a little bit, yes, about energy flow in the human vessel. We continue to learn on a daily basis as well. Let us start with why, because that is probably something on everybody's mind. And the why goes deep. The why is self love. Because you will need self love to achieve energy flow. Why do we say that? For without it, you will not take the time. Heather, do you know that there have been people we have given advice to that we say, start with 5 minutes a day? And you want to know what we get back? We do not have 5 minutes a day to start our meditative practice.
That's a shame.
Mm. You know what we hear? We hear, I do not love myself.
Mm-hmm.
I put everybody else's needs before mine. And we ask you this: how can you be there for someone else when you are not there for yourself?
It's a very good point.
This is the, as we say, kindergarten version, right? Remember back to when you were sitting in your kindergarten class, learning how to play with the blocks, and the kid next to you needed blocks to finish his little castle that he was building. And you had extra blocks, so you gave him some. Now, what if there are 12 children in this circle and each of them need blocks? And you have 4 blocks and you give them all away. There are still people needing blocks and you do not have any. You are willing to give them away. You are a good person, but you cannot give what you do not have. Now, let us look at interactions and co-collaborations in our adult life. We are much more sophisticated now. We do not play with blocks. We are serious. Yes, we are adults. Well, we still trade. We trade our energy. I bet most people that are listening to this have been tired before, have been energetically worn down before. What would a human do? They would go get a energy drink, a coffee or something of the sorts to give them energy. What if there was a free coffee? Does not everybody love free coffee?
Of course.
Okay, we have an idea. Let us play a game because we like to have fun with this. So the next time you are going to get a coffee, let us assume you are going in to get the coffee, not in the drive-through. So you're going in to get the coffee. You are in your favorite coffee place, and there is a line. We have said it only takes 5 minutes. This line is longer than 5 minutes. So instead of getting your coffee, we ask you to go stand in the waiting room. Close your eyes. Do not worry how silly you look. People will actually not even pay attention. They have not had their coffee yet. They can't focus on anything. Let your hands fall down by your sides. Put your face up to that super bright light that is above your head. Pretend it is the sun. And let the energy flow through your vessel. And we say that by the time you would have, if you do that in that place, and in the time it would have taken you to get to the front of the line, you will have flown enough energy to be slightly more awake. Will it be that jolt to your system that the coffee would have produced? Most likely not, especially if this is your first time. Will it be noticeable? We think so. So we would like you to title this podcast Free Coffee.
Okay.
Something like that. Is that sufficient, or do you have more questions?
Do you have any other examples of, like I was talking about the trees and Ryan was talking about feeling the sun on his face and the example that you just gave in the coffee shop. Do you have any other examples of how people can learn to experience what that energy feels like?
Yes, there are meditative techniques. We are trying to keep it super simple for this. There are ways to connect with your guides. A simple way is simply asking your guides, can you please send me some energy? Pay attention to what happens. Pay attention to how your vessel feels.
That sounds simple enough.
Yes. We want the listeners to come away from this with, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that right now.
Beautiful. Any other words of wisdom?
Self-love is where you start. You're not being selfish. You cannot give the blocks that you do not have. That is all.
Yes, self-love is going to be a reoccurring theme through a lot of these episodes, and we will dedicate one full episode to self-love to kind of dive into that deeper. But pretty much everything comes from self-love. It is so important. I'm glad that you mentioned that today as well.
We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. And with that, we are gone.
Amazing. They're always so helpful. I love it. That's what guides are for. And if you don't already, once you learn how to communicate with them, they can help you with so many things. They are truly amazing and do such a good job.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on the show again today. I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again.
I look forward to it, and thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you, elders, for stopping by again as well. We appreciate it.